What you want, when you want it, where you want it. This is The Mesh.
Hey, I'm Amy Chang. I'm a nationally board certified health and wellness coach, and this is Healthy AF. In this podcast, I'll be bringing you all things health, from the newest health strategies to how to tackle those personal roadblocks that just will not let you move forward. So buckle in. We're going to be inspired and instructed, and dadgum, we're going to have a little fun on Healthy AF. Hey everybody, and welcome to a new episode of Healthy AF. This is our second episode where we start talking seriously about loving our bodies and what keeps us from loving our bodies, and how do we go from like, gosh, I hate my thighs, to like, no, my thighs are awesome and they do so much work for me and I'm so grateful for them. It's a process. So here we are in step 2. In this step, we're going to look at all the beliefs, i.e. the lies that we believe about what our body shape and size says about us and our worth. Last time we talked about detaching and understanding that we are not actually our bodies, that we might be the energy inside our bodies, but when we attach our morality and our human worth to our physical bodies, that's a zone that takes us into areas that we can't control. So today we're talking about the beliefs, i.e. lies, that we tell ourselves about our bodies. So I started thinking about this last week, of course, as I did the other podcast, and I started talking to a few people about the things that we may believe that we don't know we believe, and the hidden beliefs that we have that we would never believe about another person, but we believe about ourselves. So as we go through this, I want to say some things out loud that maybe feel sort of uncomfortable. Maybe they're the things that you've always felt as a part of your culture or passed down to you from generation, but you've never verbalized and really gotten clear on. The way we dispel beliefs, i.e. lies, is we bring them into focus so that we can really examine them, and then we can choose whether to believe them or not, instead of them just being back here running the show. There are a lot of beliefs about bodies that run the show on how we feel gratitude or not for our bodies, on how confident we feel about our bodies, on our worth, and how we relate that to our bodies, that I want to really bring out to the forefront. And I'm going to ask forgiveness now, because I may say something that is hard to hear. And I may even say something that is hurtful to someone or some population. And if I do that, I'd love for you to share that with me, because I need to learn too, right? I have wallpaper just like everybody else. My experience of my life is my experience of my life. And sometimes when I speak, I have no knowledge of someone else's experience. And I like to really broaden my horizon. So if something in this podcast hits you and you're like, oh my gosh, that's so rude, or that's so unfeeling, or that's just clearly outside of Amy's realm of life experience, please share it with me. My email is right down there at the bottom of that screen. It's amy@myhealthylife.coach. Love to hear from you. Okay. Beliefs, i.e. lies. I'm just going to start throwing some of these out there, and let's see if you can relate. And I'd invite you to whip out your journal at some point after you listen to this podcast, or as you're listening to it, and start writing the own beliefs or lies that you can relate to, or the beliefs, i.e. lies, that are specific to you that may pop in your head as your insights, and really look at those and see if you choose to believe them anymore. Okay, here we go. My body is, I'd say somewhat muscular, And especially when people see my upper body, which is leaner, they say, "Oh my God, you must eat vegetables." No, this girl really struggles with my diet. But we have this belief when we look at people's bodies who are lean or muscular that they eat well, but we actually don't know what they eat. We also have this belief that people who carry more weight or more body fat eat poorly. That's not necessarily true. We have this idea, and I know because I've heard it several times. When people see my body, they say, "Oh, wow, you really must be diligent and consistent and hardworking and type A," because I have a relative leanness and I have a lot of muscle mass. But that's not true. I'm in the gym and out of the gym. Sometimes I work hard. Sometimes I barely work. Sometimes it's really hard for me to get in there. There are a lot more consistent people with a lot bigger bodies than my body. But that belief of like, oh, if you're thinner or more muscular, then you must be diligent, hardworking, dedicated, consistent, type A. Not true. The flip side too is if you do carry a little bit more body fat and have a larger body size, it's that person's lazy. That person's not trying hard. That person doesn't work. Not true. Not true. You really have no idea how many times they're in the gym, what they're eating on the daily, or if they're lazy or not. The other thing that constantly comes up is this idea of big people are dirty and lean people are clean. Not true. Nothing correlates there. It may live in the back of your head, but it's not true. You actually don't know how dirty or clean people are, and their size has nothing to do with that. So what else, I'm curious, after hearing me say some of those things, what else are you thinking of for you that is true, that you've heard in your lifetime, that you've just accepted as true, that may be holding you back from really appreciating your body? I know a few of my friends and I talked about times where we were heavier and times where we were leaner. And the assumption is when we're super lean or even very thin, that there's an eating disorder, that I must be miserable, that maybe I'm using drugs or alcohol. Those assumptions are just not true. You can't jump from this person's very small boned or very petite to, oh, she must not eat anything, or she must eat like a little stick, or maybe she has an eating disorder. There have been times where I've been heavier and comments have been made like, oh, you must not be happy. You must not feel sexy. You'll get that boyfriend once you lean out. You could be so pretty if you were a little leaner. Not true. Not true. I mean, 2 + 2 is 4. That's true. You'll be happier when you're leaner. Not true. Okay. So let's start sifting through. You're hearing some of these beliefs that many of us have or have had. And maybe you're thinking to myself, like, I would never say anybody who's overweight is lazy. But what do you say about yourself when you're overweight? That's where it gets you sometimes. You might not say that to your friend who's carrying 30 extra pounds, but will you say it to yourself when you're up 5? So we want to really look at where these beliefs, i.e. lies, lie in our heads and pull them out so that we can see them. And when we see them, we can test them. Is it true? Like I said, 2 plus 2 is 4. 2 plus 2 is 4 is true. But is I've got 30 extra pounds equal to I'm lazy? That's not true, because it's not always true. Sometimes I'm lazy when I'm very lean. Right? So when you can find that those things are not true, you can begin to let them go a little bit. That's it for today. Just enough to stir what we really think, all the lies we really hear about what it means about us when our bodies are a specific shape or size. And you can throw on disease processes in there too. If I'm diabetes, it must mean, I'm weak. If I, have cancer, it must mean I ate the wrong foods, right? Like whatever it is. Here's another good one too. Like overweight people always eat fast food. Not true. Not true. I'm bad because I hit the McDonald's on my road trip. Not true. Let those things go. So as you look at like what it is that you might believe that you hadn't said out loud yet, you can say those things out loud. You can write them in your journal. Then you can test them to see if they are always like a universal truth. And if they're not a universal truth, then you can begin to relax and let those things go. So I hope this has inspired you to really take a good look at what might be living inside your head that gets in your way from really loving you and really having choice about your bodies. I did want to add one note. I know that as a healthcare provider, I have been trained to see physical symptomology for different disease processes. I know that I can look at a person's legs and see vascular disease and guess at what's in their health history and maybe what's in their lifestyle. I know that I can see a little tiny arms and legs and a belly full of ascites and guess that they have some liver dysfunction. I'm not talking about those kinds of beliefs. I'm talking about the judgments that are limiting, that are not true. So like if you're over there having this debating committee, because I would have this debating committee, if I were listening to this podcast right now, I'd be like, well, she says that, overweight people eat great or could eat great, but like clearly they're not eating great. Well, okay, I'm not talking about medical, diagnoses. I'm talking about what gets in your head that keeps you from loving yourself and others to your fullest capacity. So if you're having that little debate in your head, get out of there. It's a distraction. And start looking realistically at what's running in the background that is having you feel bad about your worth or bad about your body because you're 5 pounds up. That's what I'm talking about here. And that's all I have to say about that. I'm not beating the dead horse. I'll see y'all next time on Healthy AF. Thank you for being with us. We've got probably 1, maybe 2 more episodes on body love, and then I'll cut y'all loose and let you practice. Don't forget to do your journaling. Reach out to me if you want to have a conversation about it. You want to nudge yourself a little bit forward. Give yourself some grace. I'll see y'all next time on Healthy AF. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Healthy AF podcast. I hope that it has helped you create a new possibility for your health and sets you into action to go get it. If you want more information or if you want to connect with me, visit my website at myhealthylife.coach. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so that each new Healthy AF episode will be sent directly to you. Let's take you from where you are to where you want to go.
You've been listening to The Mesh, an online media network of shows and programs ranging from business to arts, sports to entertainment, music to community. All programs are available on the website as well as through iTunes and YouTube. Check us out online at themesh.tv. Discover other network shows and give us feedback on what you just heard.